Hello, my name is Max. I'm just a regular guy in my early 30s. My life, to be honest, hasn't been a cakewalk. I recently got divorced from my wife Kira. You know how it happens? Love fades, the thrill is gone. At first, of course, I suffered, tore my hair out. But then I realized, enough, time to change something. And then a brilliant idea hit me. What if I start exercising? Like a new life, a new me. I'll get pumped, become a stud, and forget my dear spouse like a bad dream. Yeah, sure. Easy to say. Hit the gym. You still have to find a suitable gym, negotiate with a trainer. And to be honest, I know jack about these gyms. I haven't got a clue. But there was nothing to do, so I pulled myself together and went searching. I scoured the whole city, visited all the sports clubs. Either the prices were outrageous or the trainers were sadists. I was already in complete despair, thinking, screw it, forget this fitness stuff. And then, lo and behold, I found just what I needed. A new, modern gym. The instructors are polite, the prices are reasonable. In general, just beauty all around. The next day, early in the morning, I dragged myself to my first workout. I bought sports gear, fancy sneakers. All right, I think. Now I'm a real athlete. Just let anyone try to say I'm a wimp. So I come to the gym, look around. Not bad, everything's decent. The machines are shining, people are bustling around. And then I look. Oh my God, what are the odds? What a meeting. I stand there in the middle of the gym, my mouth agape, and across from me, on the treadmill, who would you think? None other than my former mother-in-law, Margot, in person. I must say, Margot and I have always had a rocky relationship. Even when Kira and I were married, she was always picking on me. Either I'm not sitting right or I'm not eating right. A typical nasty mother-in-law in a word. And when we got divorced, she blamed it all on me. Like I'm such and such, I abandoned her poor girl. And here she is, right in front of me, standing there running on the treadmill. And she's all so fit, tanned, in tight leggings, sports top. The guys around are practically drooling, can't take their eyes off her. And I must confess, was also a little stunned. I didn't expect such agility from Margot, to be honest. Well, there was nothing to do. I went up to her, said hello. And I'm thinking to myself, now it's going to start. Now she'll remind me about the divorce and my whole worthless life in general. But Margot, to my surprise, smiled quite nicely. "Max, what brings you here?" she says. "Decided to give the old man a shake?" I nearly choked on such a greeting. Who's old here, may I ask? I'm in the prime of my life, you know. Maybe she's already a fossil. Although, looking at her figure, it was hard to believe. "Well, yeah," I reply. "Decided to work on myself, improve my health, pump some muscles. And you, Margot, are you also a proponent of healthy living?" Margot laughed so brightly, almost girlishly. "I've been friends with sports for a very long time, so get used to it. We'll be seeing each other often now." She winked at me and flitted off towards the weight machines, and I was left standing there like a fool watching her go. What a twist, huh? What are the odds of running into your ex-mother-in-law at the gym, and in such a state that it took my breath away? That's it, I think. You're toast, Max. Now you're doomed to see Margot almost every day. And you can't run. You can't hide. You wanted to start a new life yourself, watch your health, so now deal with it, you idiot. For the next couple of weeks, I honestly tried to avoid Margot. Well, as much as possible when you're working out in the same gym. Either I'd come in an hour early or I'd stay late. Anything not to cross paths, not to see her in those tight clothes. But where there's a will, there's a way. Margot seemed to be stalking me on purpose. Wherever I go, she's already there. Either she's flashing her legs on the treadmill or she's stretching in front of the mirror. And the main thing is, always alone, without girlfriends or companions. Just like Miss Lonely, I swear. In the end, I said to hell with it and decided, come what may. I'll go when I can, and whatever happens, happens. After all, I'm not a kid anymore to run from my own ex-mother-in-law. And you know what? As soon as I thought that, life immediately got better. No, seriously. Margot and I started crossing paths at the machines a lot, even giving each other exercise tips. At first, of course, I was a bit shy. Still a mother-in-law, even if former. But then I got into it, got bolder. Sometimes we'd joke around, swap stories. Margot turned out to be quite a jokester. The slightest thing and she bursts out laughing, almost peeing herself. And here I was, a fool, thinking she was a nasty old woman, teaching me life lessons. Nope, I was wrong it seems, and once there was an incident that blew my mind. We were doing deadlifts, you know, when you lift the barbell off the floor in layman's terms, and then I go and screw up. Either I put my feet wrong or I overextended my back. In short, something cracked really badly. I barely straightened up. Look, Margot is already next to me. Eyes huge, face worried. "Max, are you okay? What's wrong with you?" she asks, and there's genuine concern in her voice. Of course, I'm putting on a brave face, forcing a smile. "Oh, nothing," I say. "It happens, I'll catch my breath and continue." But Margot just got furious. "No way," she snapped. "No more continuing. March to the locker room, we're going to treat you." And you can't argue with her, with Margot. What she says goes. So I trudged to the locker room, limping and groaning. And Margot after me, fretting and throwing up her hands, like, what a bonehead, doesn't take care of himself at all. She brought me to the locker room, sat me down on the bench, and she starts rubbing me with some ointments, giving me a massage. And she does it so deftly, with feeling. I even closed my eyes with pleasure. I sit there basking, already forgetting about the pain. And then Margot goes and says, "You're doing great, Max. Look how strong you've gotten, so muscular, a real man." My heart skipped a beat. What does that mean? Margot, my ex's mother, is giving me compliments, and not just compliments, but downright flirting? I turn to her, and my ears are ringing, and I see she's looking at me strangely, eyes shining, lips parted, and her hand gently slides down my back as if by accident. I swallowed and tried to joke it off. "Oh, come on, Margot. What kind of man am I? Just a bag of bones." But Margot only snorted and moved closer. Her breathing became heavy, intermittent. And then it hit me. Holy moly! So that's what it is. Margot, it turns out, is not just being nice to me. She's trying to seduce me, the old hag. Well, I mean, not old. Damn it, I'm totally confused. In general, I realized that things were getting dicey. A little more and something irreversible would happen between me and Margot. But do I need it? She's my former mother-in-law after all. And in general, I'm a decent person, even if divorced. In short, I jumped up as if scalded and started getting dressed. I mumbled something like, "Thanks, Margot. I feel better now. I'm off. Got things to do." And I was out of there, ran out of the locker room, just my heels flashing. And the whole way I'm thinking, I'm in deep trouble now. The divorce wasn't enough. Now my former mother-in-law is hitting on me. What a misfortune. Maybe I should spit on it all and forget about this blasted gym for good. But it was not to be. As they say, you can't escape fate. The very next day, Margot sent me a message. Like, hello, how's your back, sweetie? Drop by today, I'll give you another massage? I nearly dropped the phone at such a twist. Sweetie, seriously? Is that what she called me? Or am I imagining things? No, the woman has definitely lost it. Must be really eaten up by loneliness to throw herself at her ex-son-in-law. But the worst part is, something inside me trembled. My heart fluttered, my loins ignited, as if the devil himself nudged me in the ribs. Like, what are you doing, Max? The lady is offering herself to you with all her heart, and you're turning up your nose. Maybe it's worth it, huh? To get into an affair with a fateful mother-in-law, In general, as embarrassing as it is to admit, I fell for it. Shame on me, of course. I don't know what came over me myself. But closer to evening, I trudged back to the gym. Supposedly to get a massage, yeah. I knew, the scoundrel, that I was going not just for a massage, but I couldn't help myself. I was drawn like a magnet. Oh, if I had known how it would turn out, I would have thought 100 times. But who knew? I thought we'd sleep together once and go our separate ways. No big deal. But no, not a chance. It's not for nothing they say. Be careful what you wish for. It has a way of coming true. From that very day, Margot and I started something weird. Some kind of game, frankly, with fire. In public, we behaved as usual. Said hello, exchanged a couple of phrases. But as soon as we were alone, off we went to seventh heaven. Either Margot would accidentally touch me in the locker room, or I'd wink at her sneakily when no one was looking. And our joint workouts? That's a whole other story. Who came up with all these stretching exercises where you have to help each other? Clearly some pervert, no doubt. Imagine this. I'm lying there, on the mat, and Margot is hovering over me, pressing my leg to my chest, breathing heavily, her breasts heaving. She might as well fall right on top of me. And I'm lying there all red as a lobster, in nothing but my shorts, and I'm praying that no one notices how physically glad I am to see this woman. Shame. I just can't take it. Or here's another one. Let's say we're pumping biceps. I'm grunting and straining there with the barbell, and Margot is fussing around like spotting me, and she keeps trying to pinch my arm or stroke my back, supposedly showing me how to flex my muscles properly. Yeah, right. I know your muscles, ma'am. I know perfectly well where this is going. In short, we got to the point where we couldn't even look at each other calmly anymore. The slightest thing and sparks would fly from our eyes. Our bodies would tremble. Forget working out and exercising. We'd be lucky to make it to the shower and douse ourselves with cold water. Otherwise, we might spontaneously combust right there among the machines. And if it were only physical attraction. But no, far from it. Margot and I started having conversations, heart to heart, you know. While we're doing abs or cardio, she tells me about her life, how she ended up alone, how she gets lonely sometimes. And I tell her, yeah, I'm divorced too, green with boredom. And I know I'm a fool. I mean, who in their right mind confides in their ex-mother-in-law, especially on such topics? But no, I've opened up, you see. Bearing my soul, damn it, I'm just amazed at myself. What are you doing, you idiot? But it's too late to stop myself. The process, as they say, has begun. And with each day, the tension between us grew and grew, bound to explode any moment. And what do you think? It did explode, and so powerfully that I didn't quite understand how it happened myself. It's like a fog in my head. One moment, and it's done. As if I watched a movie on fast forward, I swear. And it happened like this. Margot and I had stayed late at the gym. Everyone else had already left, but we didn't give a damn. We're doing stretches. I'm lying on my back. She's circling over me like a vulture, her green eyes flashing, just mesmerizing me. And then something snapped in me. I see her hovering over me, her hair disheveled, drops of sweat on her face. Beautiful, the bitch. And she's breathing so fast as if she's just run a marathon. And I'm already all wound up myself, can't help it. Well, I couldn't stand it. I pulled her to me, sank into her lips like a starving man. And Margot doesn't mind, can you imagine? She presses herself against me with her whole body. At this point, I completely lost my head. We rolled on the mats like two sumo wrestlers, kissing, groping each other boldly, both growling. What happened next? I'm even ashamed to remember. Neither Margot nor I had any shame or conscience. To think we went so wild as to do it in an empty gym, on dirty mats, like some teenagers, I swear. But at that moment, we didn't care about the place or propriety. We only wanted one thing, to merge in ecstasy as soon as possible, to quench this wild, primitive thirst. In general, we had a good time. It was only later, when realization hit, that the real trash began. We're lying there, both naked, sweaty, and in my head, utter chaos and complete confusion. It's both an unreal high and a horrible shame. How could I screw up like that, huh? I've really lost it, the fool. Of course, Margot was the first to come to her senses. She jumped up and started getting dressed quickly. And she's muttering something incoherent like, how could this happen? What have we done? And her eyes are darting, her hands are shaking. Apparently, she's also in shock at her own prowess. I wanted to calm her down, to say something special, like it happens. Who doesn't it happen to? But no way. Margot just brushed me off and bolted out of the gym, left me there alone to lie and ponder. And what was left for me to do? I trudged home, all in turmoil. In my soul, nothing but anguish and self-flagellation. How could this be? I used to be a normal guy, never caught doing anything like that. But as soon as I got divorced and started going to the gym, that's it. My head went spinning. No shame, no conscience, just animal instincts. I tossed and turned all night, couldn't sleep. Before my eyes, disheveled Margot and our obscenity on the mats. I even shuddered as I remembered. And you know what? It's kind of shameful to the point of horror, but still sweet. The body, the bastard, remembers, and asks for more, the scoundrel. In short, I got up in the morning angry as a dog, scared everyone away at work, cursed for no reason, not like myself at all. And only one thing is spinning in my head. What, I asked, next? This is a complete disaster. No options. Arrived, as they say. For the next couple of days, I blew off the gym. I didn't have the strength to go there, to run into Margot. I knew that if something happened, I'd lose it again, damn it. Hot blood, I can't help myself. Margot was also silent, didn't call. Either she was offended or she was in shock herself. Go figure women, especially former mothers-in-law. They have their own atmosphere there, their own hang-ups. But it couldn't go on like this for long, you understand? In the end, my trained body took over. I started having withdrawal symptoms for the machines. I could howl like a wolf. And for Margot, too, I must confess, I was also yearning. In general, I said to hell with it and trudged back to the gym. Come what may, I decided, I can't live without my dose of endorphins, even if I burst. And as for Margot, well, maybe I'll get lucky. She must have come to her senses already, given up on these games. Yeah, sure, keep dreaming. As soon as I entered the locker room, the door opened, and on the threshold, who would you think? That's right, Margot in person. She stands there, all fatal, in a tight jumpsuit, hair loose, and she looks at me like a cat at a mouse. Like, gotcha, buddy, you won't get away now. I got goosebumps down my spine. That's it, I think. Now it's going to start. The confrontations, the back and forth. Do I need this, I ask you? But there's nothing to be done. Can't run away now. Hi, I say as casually as possible. How's life? But Margot is silent. Only her green eyes are flashing and her hips are swaying. And so meaningfully, with subtext. Well, I couldn't stand it. Listen, I say. About what happened, in short, I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. Let's forget it, okay? Let's just be friends, all that. And then Margot bursts out laughing, loudly with a sob. And I was thrown into a shiver. I feel it's not for nothing. Oh, not for nothing. Oh, friends, she drawls, smiling predatorily. I don't recall friends loving each other so passionately on the mats. You better tell me, Max, did you like it? I felt a rush of heat. Did I like it? She asks. I nearly kicked the bucket from her charms. But out loud, of course, you can't say that. Pride won't allow it. What does liking have to do with it? I grumbled. It was an accident, that's all. It happens to everyone in their youth. And Margot comes closer, wraps her arms around my neck, and whispers right into my lips, let's repeat our accident. Right now, huh? I kind of missed you. And she grabs me by that very spot. I nearly choked on such a twist. What does that mean? She wants more? What an insatiable woman, forgive me, Lord. I was about to refuse, to push her away. But no way. As soon as Margot pressed herself against me with her whole body, my mind went blank. Forget resisting. I started kissing her like a madman myself. And off we went. We were tearing clothes off each other, biting and scratching. Margot was like a wild cat digging her nails into my back. And I was no better myself, growling like a caveman. We almost fell a couple of times, barely staying on our feet. And then we collapsed onto the bench and off we went. That bench was creaking like crazy, about to fall apart. But we didn't give a damn. An inhuman passion. The brain turned off completely. What chemistry, huh? I've never had anything like this with anyone, like with this damn ex-mother-in-law. It's like two halves, perfectly suited for each other. We caught our breath after all this, sitting there naked, hugging, and in my head, chaos and complete confusion. What now, huh? Is this love between me and Margot or what? But what about decency, morality, all this crap? But I didn't dare ask. I didn't fully understand what was happening myself. And Margot was silent, thinking about something of her own. She just held me tight and kissed me wherever she could, as if she was afraid to let go, to lose me. That's how we sat until it got really awkward. In the end, we got dressed, awkwardly hugged goodbye, and we went our separate ways, like nothing happened. But in my heart, a strange feeling, like I'm happy, but also anxious. Because in fact, it wasn't just an affair anymore, not a random fuck-up out of stupidity, but a real connection, almost a relationship. Oh, if I had known then where it was all going, maybe I would have come to my senses, slowed down. But who knew? Can you resist when it hits you so hard? It's not a movie, not a book. It's just how fate will have it. And fate that time was generous with surprises to the fullest. Like, my Max's life is a bit boring. Isn't it time to shake things up? Well, it shook me up, damn it. Sparks from my eyes. I still can't come to my senses. In short, Margot and I quieted down after that incident. We went to the gym as usual, only avoiding each other. Like nothing happened. Like we're just gym buddies. But at night, it came to me in dreams, nowhere to go. I'd wake up in a cold sweat, in nothing but my underwear, and straight to the shower, to cool off, to wash away my sins. Margot was also out of sorts, pale, pensive. At the workouts, she forced a smile, but there was longing in her eyes. I even sinfully thought, did she fall in love by any chance? That would be a hoot. Ex-mother-in-law going crazy over her son-in-law. Unbelievable. But I didn't show it, of course. Who knows why the lady got sad? Maybe it's menopause or her blood pressure is jumping. These are women. They always have 7 Fridays in a week. Today they love you. Tomorrow they turn up their nose. And then something unforeseen happened. Something that sobered me up a bit. I rubbed my eyes, and for the first time in a long time I thought, what the hell? What am I doing, you idiot? It happened like this. I showed up at the gym once, as usual, and there, people packed like sardines, nowhere for an apple to fall. And they're all so dressed up, made up, women in evening gowns, men in suits. I was just stunned. What is this? Have they gone crazy? Are they going to a disco or what? I look, and in the center of the gym, Margot is standing, smiling so mysteriously, waving her hand at me. Like, come here, darling, don't be shy. And next to her, some huge dude, bald bull neck. And he looks at me like I owe him $1 million. Well, I went over. What else could I do? Gotta figure out what circus they've put on here. And Margot grabs me by the arm and drags me to the guy. Meet him, she says. This is Boris, my new beau. And this is Max, just a good friend. We work out together sometimes. My jaw dropped. A beau, then? A good friend? Oh, great. And what about me, your secret love? No, the old woman has definitely lost her conscience. Decided, apparently, to arrange her personal life in her old age, and didn't even remember me, threw me out like a used condom. But I didn't show it, of course. I smiled stupidly, shook hands with this Boris, and I'm shaking all over, just want to smack him in the face. Look at him, pumped up on steroids, spreading his grabby hands, you see. And what Margot and I had, so a trifling nonsense then. In general, I couldn't stand it. I put on a stone face, threw out some standard phrase, and I got out of there quietly, not looking at anyone. And in my chest, such a burning resentment, such anger, at Margot, at myself, for falling for it like fools, for giving in to our feelings, and look how it turned out. All down the drain, nothing but frustration in my soul. Okay, I think, forget it. Apparently Margot and I are not meant to spin love until the grave. Enough. I've had my fun. Time to come to my senses. After all, I'm not her husband, not even a steady lover. Just fooling around in our old age out of stupidity. It happens to everyone in their youth. But no way. I come home, and there, a surprise. Kira, my ex-wife, is sitting on the doorstep, all tear-stained, shaking like an aspen leaf. I was just stunned. What's this news? This is the last thing I needed to complete the set. In short, it turns out the following. Kira knows everything about me and Margot. She saw with her own eyes how her mommy and I were making out in the locker room. Imagine that. She comes in, you know, to surprise her mom with a visit. And there such passions are boiling. You'll faint. Well, she gave us a full-fledged debriefing, screaming like a banshee. Like, have you completely lost it? Ruined our marriage and decided to shake up mom's personal life too? And I'm sitting there like an idiot. Eyes on the floor, hands at my sides. And what can you say? Caught red-handed. Now you can't wriggle out of it. In general, we parted on bad terms. Kira slammed the door loudly, and Margot also took off to her place, only flashing her eyes in farewell. Made it clear, that's it, soldier, you're done fighting. Now you're on your own without me. And I, the fool, was left with a broken trough. No wife, and now no mistress either. Only pain in my soul and a dull emptiness. I wanted to do my best, I thought. Well, so what if she's my ex-mother-in-law? But what a woman, fire! But it turned out like this. Outsmarted myself, idiot. For several days after all this hullabaloo, I simply physically could not go to the gym. I had no strength to see the familiar walls, those cursed machines. And to look at Margot at all, I might as well cut my veins and hang myself. But life, you know, is a complicated thing. Either you take it or it takes you. There's no third option. Well, I, as a true macho, decided, to hell with it all. Enough suffering, gotta get a grip. After all, I'm a man, aren't I? In general, I got my ass up and trudged back to work out. At first, of course, it was tough. Margot kept appearing in my mind. All our shenanigans in the locker room. But then I gradually got into it, let it go. Iron. It heals better than any psychologist. You work out for an hour or two, and your soul feels lighter. Thoughts are gathering into a pile again. And then one day, after a particularly brutal workout, I'm sitting in the locker room, resting, sipping some water. And then the door opens, and on the threshold, who would you think? That's right, Margot in person. My insides just dropped. That's it, I think. She's here. Now she's going to throw a fit. The back and forth will start again. But I look, and her face is kind of weird. Not angry, not offended, but so pensive or something. Like she's made up her mind about something, but isn't sure yet. Well, I blurted out the first thing that came to my mind. Hi, Margot. How's the young life? The Cavalier treating you well? I don't know why I said that. Like I wanted to joke, to diffuse the situation. And she suddenly smiled so sadly and says, "What Cavalier, Max? I was just playing the fool. For the public, for my misguided daughter. But in reality," and she fell silent. Turned to the window, her shoulders slumped. My heart just ached. Could she be suffering? Could I really not be indifferent to her? I went up to her, turned her around by the shoulders. I look, and her eyes are wet. Lips trembling, color drained from her face. "Oh, this is not good. Oh, not good at all. Margot," I say, "what's wrong? Look, if I offended you in any way, forgive the fool. It wasn't out of malice, And she sobs, buried her face in my chest, shaking all over. And through her tears, she babbles, "You're a fool, Max. That's what I'll tell you. What offenses? What are you talking about? I love you, don't you understand? With all your quirks, flaws, despite everything. And you," and again in tears, "and I could either stand or fall." What a twist, huh? Arrived, as they say. Ex-mother-in-law confessing her love. Where is the world heading? But you know what's the scariest part? At that moment, I suddenly realized, but I love her too. With all my heart, with all my soul, with all her quirks and hang-ups. I still love her no matter what, and I felt so good, so light, as if a weight had been lifted from my shoulders, as if I had caught a second wind. I stand there hugging Margot, stroking her hair, and I'm smiling like a fool, not knowing why myself. "Margot," I say, "maybe we should tell it all to go to hell. Maybe we should try. You and I, you and me, start with a clean slate, without looking back. What do you think, huh?" She pulled away, looked into my eyes, looked for so long as if peering into my soul. And then she took my face in her hands and whispered, "Oh, Max, Max, my poor onion. Yes, I agree to anything as long as I can be near you. I don't care about sidelong glances, about people's gossip. You're dearer to me than anyone. Haven't you realized that yet?" Well then, I couldn't stand it. I pulled her to me and sank into her lips as if for the last time. And she responds, melting into my embrace herself. Oh, how much tenderness is in her, how much irrepressible passion. Try to guess by her stern appearance. In general, that's how it all worked out. Somehow by itself, without unnecessary words and hysterics. Two lonely hearts found each other. Does that happen often? Of course, I had to explain myself to Kira. She yelled at us, shouted. But then she understood, seemed to come to terms with it. She only said at the end, "They say, watch out, lovebirds. God forbid you pull something like that again. I'll skin you alive. You won't know what hit you. And we're not going to do anything crazy anymore. We've had enough. We've had our fun. Now we'll only hold on to each other, cherish our belated love." It's late, of course, to spin romances in retirement. But better late than never, as they say. Especially with our athletic conditioning. Oh ho ho, how much longer we'll live in perfect harmony. That's the story, my friends. Instructive, yes. Laughter and sin and bitter tears. But the main thing is, with a happy ending, and everything else is unimportant. The moral of this fable, I think, is clear. Never swear off unexpected love if it comes. Cling to it with both hands. And to hell with it, that she's an ex-mother-in-law, that there's an age difference. You can't command the heart, and you don't need to. It will take what's its own anyway, stubborn. So Margot and I took it. We took a chance, put everything on the line, and didn't lose. Now we only look forward to our common future. And what else is left for us to do? Only to love each other, to live each day as if it were the last. And sports, of course. Where would we be without it, darling? It was sports, in fact, that brought Margot and I together. So now, while our legs walk and our hands pull dumbbells, we'll work out together, strengthen our health, and remember our youth. What the hell? There's something to remember, though. So don't lose heart, men. And don't be afraid of your happiness, even if it comes to you in the form of a former mother-in-law. Grab it by the scruff of the neck and hold on tighter. In our time, you need to cling to love, whether real or not. Just believe me, the fool. Well, I think I'll run. To the gym, of course. Margot must be tired of waiting, lifting weights without me. Some entertainment she found in her old age. Oh, what you won't do for the woman you love. Look, I even told you our story without holding back. Although, to be honest, I myself still find it kind of weird. How could I get into such a mess up to my eyeballs? Well, what can you do now? We play the cards we're dealt. And to you, my friends, one more piece of advice. Don't miss your chance, even if it barges into your life in sports leggings. All right, I've rambled on here with my love musings. It's funny to me myself, but don't be angry if I'm wrong. I just don't wish my happiness to anyone, neither enemy nor friend. Look for it yourself, catch it by the ears, and when you find it, hold it tight. Don't let go. That's it. I'm definitely gone now. Bye-bye, guys. Love and be loved. And most importantly, don't be afraid to take a risk when you're in a pinch. You know, hook up with your ex-mother-in-law or something else. After all, if we live, we live. Did you like this story? Let us know in the comments what you liked. Subscribe to our storytelling podcast. Also, don't forget to like and ring the bell so you don't miss more interesting stories. See you soon.